Our goal was to build a boat that would travel the length of 10 feet using baking soda and vinegar as the thrust.
For our boat design, we used the ice bottle and we put a piece of foam with a straw. The boat was too heavy, so we took off the foam and we added a straw. But the straw, the CO2 wasn't going through the straw, so we took out the straw and just used the ice bottle with the hole in it. But the bottle wasn't working, so we switched to a water bottle and that worked.
On the first day, we discussed materials and brought in duct tape, a foam board, bottles, baking soda, and vinegar. On the second day, we began calculating and designing. On day 3, we built the boat, but it failed. We accidentally used baking powder and it was too heavy. On the 4th day, we corrected the baking soda issue, but using a straw delayed CO2 release, which caused not enough thrust. On the 5th day, we removed the straw and used a tissue for quicker baking soda insertion, but it clogged the hole. On the 6th day, we used a custom paper pouch that worked well, but it only reached 8 feet. On the final day, we swapped the bottle, but kept the same measurements and finally achieved 10 feet. These are our equations for baking soda and vinegar. This is the one for baking soda. We got about 9.4 grams. For vinegar, we got 6.7 for this equation, and then after the final, we got 134 milliliters.
This is our data table, and for trial 1, we used 0.750 CO2. The length was 1 foot, and for the vinegar, we used 40.2, and baking soda was 2.8 grams. For trial 2, we used 1.5 liters CO2 produced. It went 1 foot, and 67 milliliters of vinegar, and 4.7 grams of baking soda. For trial 3, the CO2 produced was 1.75 liters. The length was 4 feet. Vinegar was 93 milliliters and 6.7 grams of baking soda. For trial 4, we used 1.90 CO2 produced. The length was 6 feet, and we used 101 milliliters of vinegar and 7.1 grams of baking soda. For trial 5, the CO2 produced was 3 liters, and it went over 10 feet off the track. We used 160 milliliters of vinegar and 11.3 grams of baking soda. For trial 6, CO2 produced was 2.5 liters. It went 10 feet. Vinegar, we used 134 milliliters and 9.4 grams of baking soda.
In conclusion, we learned that material choice, gas flow, and timing is everything. The project helped us apply chemistry, design, and problem solving. Our biggest error was using baking powder, a slow release setup, but we fixed it and reached our goal.